I am Fernando Morales de la Cruz, a human rights activist focused on the elimination of forced labor and child labor in the supply chains of all corporations and all developed nations. I have been doing this since 9 years, and sadly, child labor has increased. And this is in spite of all the promises of the G7 nations and of the European Union to have zero tolerance to child labor in their trade. Sadly, even inside the United States, there are now reports from the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, and all the media about children working in corporations. This has to be stopped. But the same is happening inside of Europe. There are more than 1 million children working in Europe and probably about 1 million children working in the United States. Unfortunately, there are tens of millions of children working in the supply chains of the United States, tens of millions of children working in the supply chains of the European Union, and of course, there are countries like Norway and Switzerland that also profit from the exploitation of tens of millions of children because they either invest in these corporations or are home to these corporations that employ children. In 2023, this should not be happening. The problem is so big that even the numbers of UNICEF and the ILO are false. They claim that there are 160 million children working all over the world. I say that there are more than 300 million children working, and now the universities of Zurich and Pennsylvania say that there are 375 million children working. This has to be stopped. So I am asking for you to support me so I can create the Louis Hine Foundation in order to put photographers, videographers, and investigative journalists to work in all continents to document child labor in the supply chains of corporations and developed nations. If we do that, we can create a scandal, which is the only way that we can actually stop the exploitation of children. Because now there are politicians in the United States, in Europe, and in many other countries, including Canada, trying to legalize child labor. This cannot continue like this. I hope you join me and support my efforts to eliminate child labor and protect the rights of all children. I thank you very much. From Cologne, Fernando Morales de la Cruz.